Welcome to another Try and Fly. And today we're going to look at a Boeing, one that I have for quite some time. It started off a couple of years actually ago with the initial version of the FlightFactor Boeing 757. It was never really my favorite at that time because, yeah, it was okay. It didn't look great, and yeah, it never cut it with me. Then FlightFactor came out with version 2, Professional. That's this year, and a lot of things had changed because originally they have created a new version of the 767, and the technologies that they used in the 767 they have then applied to the 757, creating this V2 update, and that's what we're going to look at today. This is quite recently updated, maybe 1 or 2 or 3 weeks ago, I can't remember, but it's not that long ago. We are on the current version, and yeah, it's actually the first time since I have set up my new rig that I activate this airplane again, and we're going to do the usual try and fly scenario today, just to have a look how it behaves and how I get on with it. I haven't really been flying the 757 for quite some time, so probably I'm going to miss out a couple of things, but yeah, it shouldn't be too difficult to get our scenario run. I'm running pilot to ATC in the background for ATC. Let's see how that fares. And yeah. By the way, what you see here is the ground handling. So there is a ground handling set available for the 757, and you can use this. Only little problem with the 757 is that it expects its own stuff in order to load passengers and load baggage and load fuel. And that would kind of clash a little bit with the ground handling stuff. So if you haven't set up everything, you should probably not have these. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to hide them all. I basically turn off the ground handling from Jar Design Payware, and I'm calling up the iPad with all the settings. We're going to go through them in a bit more detail. I go to operations, I go to airplane, and to ground, and now I can start setting up the external stuff like the GPU. Hello. Okay. Already a good start. Let's go remove all chocks, stairs. Gate config. All right. Stairs, GPU, fuel truck, passenger bus, loader unit. Let's have a look. Now that looks a bit odd, to be honest. The loader unit is that's weird. Okay. A waste unit, LSU. Alright, and now let's quickly check that all the doors are open. So basically our doors are open. And this thing is a little bit in the way. Can you actually externalize this? Yes, you can. In the latest versions you can actually take this out, which is very good. It just jumped to my why is it always jump into another screen? I don't. I love stuff like that. It's moving to the other screen just like that. It's like a rubber band. I don't want that. Can we please go back in? Okay, let's do it like this. Ah, you can make it small. All right, so it's not so much in the way. It's just that you can't read anything after that. So basically, we have all the doors open. There's the loader units. I'm not sure what this lonely thing is doing there. Yeah. Let's. What's that? Is that that's probably the loader, right? Yeah. And is that the LSU? No, that the LSU is there. Hello. Okay. Waste unit. So let's take away the waste unit. And on the airplane, we can actually close the particular door. So let's close that door because we have no stairs for it. So the reason why I'm doing this is, as I said, is very simple. We need to do that in order to oh, okay, I don't need it that big. In order to have the loading happening, which I'm going to show you in a moment. Let's first go through this this key piece of the aircraft actually. So here's the general settings. You can define a challenge level, which means that the higher probably the challenge level, the more complex things are getting. Real limits means that if you exceed the limits of the aircraft, it will break. I'm going to turn this off. Real time I'm also turning off. So for example, the alignment will take real time and other things. But I turn this off so that it goes quick. You can use saved configurations, so that means you can actually save what you set up here and you can recall it. The mouse wheel is in use. You could turn this off. Then you have the classic way probably of manipulating dials. The image charts, they appear on the aileron, on the yoke. I don't use this. You can hide the yokes. I have them visible at the moment. And this is actually a new option that I can't remember seeing before. Yoke centering looks like it's you could actually activate centering of the yoke. I would probably need to read in the manuals what that is. So that's a new one. There is an autosave option. That's also new, which probably means that when you make changes, it automatically persists it. And that's the general volume. Okay, so you can already hear all these surrounding options, like the rain sound and the terminal sounds, which don't really fit here. They can be set up here. You can call up checklists, by the way. They are now integrated into this, and we can have a look later. We are going to work with those checklists because they are automated and they are quite fancy. So there's no need for a C list here in this aircraft. Let's go to the sim settings. So here you can define, does it shake on turbulence, metric weights. That's what we're using because we are in Europe. Throttles block, that probably means that when the autopilot or the auto throttle is active, that you cannot, or if you move your throttle levers, that's what it probably is, will turn, will turn throttle block throttle after AP is turned off, use with hardware throttles, block throttle after, okay, and then it's cut off. It's not exactly helpful. Alright, realistic sound. This will make sounds volumes more realistic. You will hear less in the cockpit. Yeah, you can turn this on or off. I keep this off for the moment. There is a real weather radar, real WXR radar to work as in reality. Less weather will be shown. Yeah, okay. Advanced wind shear. That's the wind shear simulation. Not sure what it based this on. And you can actually activate it to use better pushback for the pushback option, because there is one in the ground operations. Right, so that's the general sim settings. Then you can define things like active mouse wheel or click and mouse wheel. So you can actually define a lot how you want to interact with the aircraft in the cockpit. What does the middle mouse button do? Interaction, activation. interaction in VR. I don't have VR here. Zoom protected clicks, which means that zoom is disabled when you're hovering over one of those dials. You can use your mouse wheel in order to properly dial, and then once you move away from the dial, things are fine again. This is one of like that, I have to say that these aircraft from FlightFactor are the best when it comes to user experience inside the cockpit. Yeah, and you have all these options. If you don't like what they have by default, you can change this, which is a good thing. Tooltips, I've turned them off. I don't like tooltips popping up everywhere. But if you're new to this aircraft, you can turn that on. There is some interaction stuff for VR. I'm not going to go into that. And the double click speed. If for some reason you're not happy with the way the double click works, yeah, you could use this. So if we go back, then comes advanced sound. Here you can do a lot of sound volumes for the various elements here. Yeah, have a look yourself. I'm not going to modify this, just show you that there is. And then there's effects. I have turned them off because I don't like reflections. That's just my personal preference, okay? I don't need light effects, lamp effects, glass effects, because to me they take away from the readability and the usability of the cockpit. They may be more realistic and you can turn them on anytime, you know, like also the glass effects and stuff like that. But to me, I don't like them. I do have the advanced rain effect on though, because as you can see, it's raining there. So we are going to have a look at that. You can save these options, and so that's our general menu. Then we go to operations here on the ground. You can call up the various bits and pieces. You can then set the number of passengers. Because we are doing a try and fly, we're going to have 10 passengers. And the cargo weight is basically 0. And we're going to have 10 tons of fuel. Or let's do 15. Okay, it's probably far too much, but we need a little bit of weight, I think. You can optimize the CG, then it kind of shifts things a little bit so that it's better for the center of gravity, which is now 25 here, so that's a good value. It's okay. And then you press load, unload, and it's important that you have set up your units here, because otherwise this wouldn't work. So they have not separated fuel and cargo and so on, which is good, because in older versions you would need to jump in different menus. You can see this in the A350, for example. And it was a little bit awkward to jump forth and back. I think it's great that that they have it all together in one page now. You optimize. You can actually save this, and you can save and you can load a custom loading. So if you have set up your aircraft to have a specific load, and you want to repeat, it's very simple to use the load and bring that back, a preserved setting. All right, it makes it just a bit faster. Same, by the way, is here. You can save the configuration of the tidbits that are around the aircraft and then recall them very easily. And by the way, when you're on the ground, you can run maintenance, and it would then fix all problems it possibly has. And not only the X-plane failures, there are also FlightFactor 757 specific failures. Right. So that's the ground, and then we have the airplane. You can have dynamic blinds, so they go on and I think they open up or go down in the cabin. Actually, I turn these things usually off because I don't want cycles to be used on stuff like that I probably never see, because I don't care. The auto gear lever, it will automatically bring the gear lever into the off position. That's actually handy when you're on your own, because you tend to forget, and then you need to kind of bring the lever into the right. So I like this, so I leave this on and see how it works. You can actually turn winglets on or off depending on what aircraft, what airline you're using at the moment they're on. You could actually turn them off, and you can see how they disappeared here in the corner. You can also choose between Pratt & Whitney and Rolls-Royce engines. I leave everything as it is. You can give a bit of wing flex. I turned off reflections completely. I don't like them. But general effects. But just be aware, if you turn them very high up, they will definitely cost cycles. And yeah, I don't know. I don't care about it because I sit in the cockpit and I fly the aircraft. I don't really care about wing flex. Reflections to me are distracting and sometimes just make visibility and usability not as optimal as it could be. If you like that kind of thing and if you don't take it that serious, go ahead, turn them on and have fun with them, okay? There are also advanced effects. So we have seen this before. And that also shows you that some of these menus are intertwined, so you can open them from different areas. And as usual, you can save this, and I have actually saved this before, so that it will always come. So let's do this now, so that my dynamic blinds next time will not be on when I come in. This is the doors. At the moment, some of them are opened, and later on we can use the close all to very quickly close all the doors. Let's come to the options. So this is a display of the EADI. That's your artificial horizon, the electronic one. Whether or not you have an airspeed tape, I actually like having an airspeed tape, because in the 757, we come into the cockpit, and we haven't got electricity yet, so that's why you can't see anything. But we have conventional instruments and we have these digital instruments. And in older versions of the 757, there wouldn't be things like the airspeed tape. But I find the airspeed tape very handy also because I use Xtexture extractor in order to bring out those displays for me on my other screen. So it's easier for me, especially when I'm looking around in the cockpit and all. I don't need to fix my view always ahead to see the instruments. And because you can't bring out those analog instruments, I actually appreciate being able to also have the airspeed in my EADI. So that's why I turn this on. You can change things about the flight director, the form, the type of the flight director. There's a radar altitude. You can have it in different ways. There's a round dial kind of thing that can show up. You can have the rising runway. That's also pretty new, and the trend vector. These are more modern options that the old 757s wouldn't have. There's a modern EFIS panel. EFIS are the instruments here in the middle. Okay, the engine something information system. Heading up map. TCAS, EHSI, sorry, modern EFIS. Hang on. EHSI is not, no, it's not those. It's actually that there. That's the EHSI. That's the EADI, that's the EHSI. You can have a map that shows heading up to airspeed and ground speed display. Actually, I'm turning this on. Yeah. Range arcs, digital wind bearing, and in the ICAS, which is actually the middle instruments, now we got it right, you have a fuel flow display, APU. I leave most of them on because it's good to have additional information that the old displays wouldn't show, so there's no harm in having them. Autopilot, command, manual, arm. Yeah, I'm not sure what automatic does. Disables the auto arming of all autopilots for approach mode. Okay, so you could... If you turn this on, disables the auto arming of. It's actually not automatically arming. It expects you to arm all the autopilots for an automatic landing. Yeah, I leave this as it is. And what was that? Auto throttle hold ATT hold. No, the attitude hold mode if bank angle is greater than 5 on CMD engage if both FDs are off. So this is these are some interesting options. I'm not going to go through all of them because then we would be here for hours. but you can see already that this is actually, it's quite great. And if you have found your settings, save the config. Okay. So that was, what was that? Sim settings? No, that was interaction ops. No. Advanced sound. Ah, that was avionics, yeah. The other ones we have already been in, including the effects, okay? It's just another way of getting into those same things. Now, failures. First of all, you can check what failures are FlightFactor failures we're talking on, and you can reset them all here. And you can also actually add failure scenarios where you define what should break when, roughly. So that's a great thing, and that's what you get with professional versions in FlightFactor. We're not going to do this today for obvious reasons. It's always difficult also to do failures as a single pilot. Quite frankly, there's no point doing this. I might try this at some point, but you need to be prepared for that. If you want to simulate failures, you need to be prepared for it. And then we have things like...
Ladies and gentlemen,
you remember that voice?
Would like to welcome you on board this Boeing
Exactly.
757-200. If you haven't already done so, please stow your luggage underneath the seat in front of you or in an overhead bin.
Can we turn this off?
Do everything possible to make your flight comfortable.
Okay, thank you. You can actually integrate Navigraph. Okay, so it is possible to use Navigraph in the in-flight part for the charts. All right, and what you need to do is, in order to use this, you enter the airport code. You must have a Navigraph subscription, quite obviously, a password and all that, and have it paid. And then you can go and call up any of the Navigraph charts that belong to this airport. And I'm calling up now the taxi, and it automatically also has the Navigraph Symlink on. That means you know actually where you are, and that is a really nice option, a really, really nice option. Yeah, you can see where we actually parked at the moment. And then there's the checklist. So this is the pre-flight checklist. They do have checklists. They have amplified checklists. They're basically like procedures and abnormal checklists. And what you can do is you can actually have it to perform. So for example, the power up. I could do this all myself, or I can say auto perform, and then it will, as soon as I call up the particular procedure, it will go through these steps, more or less automatic, but it expects you to tell it if certain things are established or not. Okay, so for example here it was waiting for me to click on the establish, and then it continues with the electrical setup. Amongst other things, it has now APU selector start. That doesn't look like it. Have we actually started the APU? I don't think so, huh? No. Use X power switch instead if available. Position the APU selector back to the on position. Do not allow the APU. Okay. Okay. No, fair enough. That's actually correct. I can go to the next, which is the preliminary flight. And the first thing it did was it did actually set all these IRS into the nav position, so that they would start now to align, which is important for us. Status display. Again, I can look at the status display. That's this here. No, I use the button down here to be now in the status display, and I checked it. So if I click here, it then tells me to verify the oxygen quantity, oxygen pressure 1749. And I'm just, does it say oxygen pressure? Yeah, hydraulic quantity. So they all look fine. So I say check, and we're done through the, so this is actually, it's really nice. It's really, really nice. I leave this inside now, but I would actually put this outside so that it doesn't run in the way here. But that's actually quite good. Initial data. enter data in all the boxed items on the following CDU pages. And that is basically us now having a look. You can always call up. As you can see, you can call it up. You can even externalize the CDU now as an external window. Also, these are all things that have been introduced recently into this version. And there's also a settings menu where you can select, for example, the weight units. Right. So we go to FMC and we have a quick check now. Model is 757-200, Pratt & Whitney engines. ARAC is 1901. I know we are a little bit outdated. I need to, yeah, because I just installed things again and I seem to have an old ARAC in the folder where the ARAC for the FlightFactor run. Model version is 2.2.19, which is at this time, when I do this video, is the latest version. And yeah, position in it. So we are in Munich, Echo Delta Delta Mike, and we are, yeah, where are we actually? Can we see this? Let me quickly move this out of the way. I always okay, let's see if we can read this here somewhere. I forgot actually where I positioned the aircraft, so let's see if I can find any kind of label that tells us where we are. Why should it be that easy, I suppose? Alright, let's try something else. Okay, is there any sign where the hell we are? No. Why easy when you can make it difficult? Let's see if the in-flight chart stuff, if I go to expand, close, expand. So there should be parking possessions west. Let's call that up. And yeah, unfortunately this is one where it doesn't work. I think I'm on 185. As far as I remember, I'm on 185. Let's put this in, not in database. Right. Yeah. 184. All right. Let's forget about that. Let's initialize the position. So we haven't got. We have no GPS. All right. But no, here's the GPS position. I always take it from the following pages. Don't use the initial value because it could be wrong actually. So I click here, and it does not work like that anymore. All right. If you so wish, GPS position N4821. Let's maybe okay. I think I accidentally had this. No, it doesn't work on this page, but it works on this page. And as we've seen, the GPS position is correct, so I enter it here, and now we are covered, and we can get to the route part. We start in Echo Delta Delta Mike, and we end in Echo Delta Delta Mike. All right. So the runway will be the 08 left. I know that already, because that's the typical scenario that we are running. Flight number is T1. Actually, we are running as quality, or I need to quickly check. This is, by the way, pilot to ATC. It's our Vision Jet. Actually, that's not really very helpful. Let's see. Let's go to the config, and let's use that's general aviation. Yeah, that's a bit stupid. Let's use another call sign. Let's use Condor. I think I need to disconnect quickly. Okay, so let's use Condor or something like that. So what's the call sign of Condor now? I should have really checked this before I started it. Let's use quality TNT trans. Okay, TNT Transnord Vision Jet 99er. So save, then connect.
Munich information Kilo 620 Zulu, winds are light and variable. Visibility 6 miles. 4,800 few clouds.
Actually, that doesn't make sense. Quality 99er. So let's do that. Yeah. That's a TNT, or used to be the TNT. We are now on ATIS. I'm quickly switching the frequency so that we're not listening to the ATIS all the time. Okay, and yeah, we are roughly at 1.8 something. So Echo Delta Delta Mike to Echo Delta Delta Mike. And now let's have a look at the basic route. The basic route says we're running out of 08 left, so I'm going here, departure, runway 08 left. We're going to go the Anchor 8 Quebec, no transition, and we are going to arrive in Munich on the ILS 08 left via the Mike transition on the BAMTA 3 Alpha. And let's go to the route. Let's check this. Okay, you can see BAMTA 3 Alpha. Then there's a direct, and it's missing here because we're missing now the waypoints after the anchor departure. So from anchor we're going to go to Akini. Akini. Does it not know Akini? Anchor Akini via direct. Okay, let's do this in the legs page. Let's try that again. Clear. Invalid entry. So apparently it does not know Akini. Then let's try Ostis. Invalid entry. Or maybe I should press this here. Nope. Okay, that's not a good start. Akini. Nope. Okay, I'm going to delete the no, that's not the way they do this. This is the way you should get the discontinuity invalid select. Uh-oh. Oh guys, I think we may have already hit our first snag here. Let's see. I can't delete it. I can't change it. I can't do it here. I can't do it here. Okay, let's activate the route for the moment, and then let's see if I can manipulate it afterwards. So Akini. Ah, okay, that's the way it works. Fair enough. Strange, but as long as it works, I don't care. Ostis, and next is then BAMTA. That means we're taking BAMTA, we're taking it out, and we have our route. Now the other thing we need to do is we need to go to the init page, and very quickly you can press button here. So we have 15 tons of fuel, 75.3 is the weight. The reserves, we'll do 2 tons. Cruise altitude is flight level 200, and the cost index is 25. That means for the takeoff we're going to take a flaps 5 takeoff. We're going to reduce thrust to about what temperatures we have. I think it's yeah, actually we should very quickly check the ATIS in a moment, but I would say we're going for a 45 degrees thrust reduction, derated takeoff. Center of gravity is 25, we know that. Trim is 3.7, and yeah, you need to turn this actually on, the reference speeds, and then it will calculate your V speeds for you. You just set these 124, 127, 134, and pre-flight is complete. So we're done, and we have a very basic route. Now let's have a quick look at how that looks in the route display. And for that I don't have a hardware profile yet, so I'm going to show you. So we are we have to go to the route. Okay, so we are going to take off, then flying here along the anchor departure, then comes Akini. Let's go to the legs page, and now we should actually do this on this page. Then we have the step, because we are on the co-pilot side here. And now I can go to the steps, anchor, Akini, Ostes, then comes Bamta. There's going to be a little bit of a snag here. I wonder how it will resolve this. It already shows it. Alright. And next comes the Bamta arrival via MIQ, and then comes the ILS. Alright. So that should do currently for our setup. We can see that we will end up with still 13 tons of fuel. We're not going to use that much fuel. And it has the VORs automatically set up. And that's it for the moment. So we can go out of here. By the way, this is the ILS receiver. Okay, there's a separate receiver for the ILS, and you need to set it up here then. At the moment you can't see this, but when you move a little bit on the frequencies, it will actually show you the ILS frequencies. So what we need to do is very quickly we can go to the map, and we can click here, and we can say tune 109.5 just for us to know, and it will set up the ILS with the correct frequency. These radios we can keep on automatic, okay, and that would mean that the FMC will set the frequencies depending on what is in the flight plan and all. It has become quite dark, so I think we should start putting on some lights, and yeah, so we need to put on some lights. It's here. There's the dome light. So let's get some light into this here. There's the panel lights, glare shield lights, standby instruments, and we can already see how that looks. The lighting stuff works pretty well here. And then indicator lights. That's, by the way, for the door. So the door is currently unlocked so that we can go actually into the cabin. Oh, sorry, I turned it off accidentally, the ground power. That's not what we want. But everything is still Everything is still there. Okay, good. So that's the light. I have to try and remember where other light switches are. I think they are down. No, that's the weather radar. Where are the other lights? So this is the intensity of the displays. And then there is more light switches over there that you can manipulate. You can see there's a map light and so on. Same here on this side. There's a floodlight, there's a panel light, and there is the intensity of these things here. So, yeah, we shall see how that looks in the dark later when we are flying. Okay. My hardware doesn't work yet because, unfortunately, this aircraft, course works. Heading and speed unfortunately do not work. That means I need to set it in the panel. I need to program a completely own profile for this here, so it doesn't work with the default settings. That's just the way it is. Right. So let's call up the thing here again. Go to the checklist. We have been in the CDU pre-flight, and yeah, this is just a checklist to go through, but I might as well now go here, pre-flight controlling. Yaw damper switches are on, system pressures we have checked, passenger oxygen on light is checked, ram air turbine. I'm going through this a little bit quickly now. Wing light switch as needed, we don't need it. Then comes the auto rate control, that's up here. That set landing altitude is, I think, 1600 or something, roughly, for the airport, and we put it into auto mode 1. Alright, so we check this. Then oxygen pressure is checked. Then comes the flight instruments. Now a quick check here, heading and so on. That all seems to fit. Check. Autoland status annunciator, check. That's this here. There's a test button for that. Check. Upper ICAS display. No, yeah, okay. There's a lot of stuff because we check. Secondary engine indications. Check. Decision height selector is on 200. Check. Terrain switch, yeah, that's all. Right. Left VHF communication panel, check. That's the radios. ADF panel, check. Engine fire panel. Yeah, we could go through, hang on, engine fire panel. This is the 757. Is here, I think. Check. Engine fire switches are both in. Transponder panel, yeah, we leave this on 2000. Check. ILS panel, check. So APU fire panel, switch, yeah, right VFR communications, check. Done. Pre-flight not controlling, that's sort of the pilot non-flying, I suppose. Yeah, alternate stabilizer trim, switch, they should all be in the proper position. Check. So flap lever is up and the flap indication is up. Fuel control switch fire warning lights, yeah, they're out. Next. Was I not at the end? Let's see. Oh yeah, I was. So, flight deck door is locked. It has actually locked now, and what we should do is we should actually send away now all the stuff. And before we do that though, and especially before we turn off the GPU, we need to activate the APU, which I just realized is already running. So let me check. It is have been turned on, so we can actually now close all doors, and we are removing the stairs, the chocks, the LSU, the GPU, the fuel truck. These switches hadn't been turned on yet. What did that do? Hopefully nothing. Alright. And the passenger bus. And get rid of all that. So we're now basically ready. We can turn on the red beacon to indicate that we are planning to move here soon. Right, but before we do that, we need to start getting in contact with ATC. Yeah. So let's see. We are requesting the clearance, so we need to request ready to copy IFR clearance.
Quality 9er ready to copy IFR clearance.
Are we on the clearance frequency? Yes, we are. Maybe we're not. Okay, let's...
Munich information Lima, 620 Zulu winds are light and variable. Visibility 6 miles. 4,800 few clouds. 6,000 scattered. Temperature 10, dew point 9. Current QNH is 1.
So, let's get onto the clearance frequency and let's try that again.
Quality 9er ready to copy IFR clearance.
And to be honest, if this thing acts up, then it's going to be out immediately, because I'm not feeling like suffering through problems with a pilot to ATC. Quality 9er ready to copy. This doesn't look like it's working again. So I give it only one chance, and that means I'm going to load the flight plan again. I'm going to validate it, and I'm going to file it. And if this, oh, jetzt allow, not again. Kaspersky keeps blocking my mic, you know. This is, and no matter how often I told it not to do that and to remember my decision, it just doesn't give a flying whatever. I hate software like that. Anyway, let's try that again.
Quality 9er ready to copy IFR clearance.
Quality 9er is cleared to Echo Delta Delta Mike. Fly the ANKE8Q departure with the anchor transition, then as filed. Expect departure runway 08 left. Climb to 5,000 feet via the departure. Expect higher clearances 2 minutes after departure. Squawk 6606.
6606. 5,000.
Quality 9er is cleared to Echo Delta Delta Mike. Fly the ANK8Q departure with the anchor transition, then as filed. Climb to 5,000 feet via the departure. Expect higher clearances 2 minutes after departure. Squawk 6606.
Quality 9er read back correct. QNH is 1011 contact ground on 121.77 when ready for pushback. Enjoy your evening.
So ground, alright.
QNH is 1011 ground on 121.77 quality 9er.
Okay, we're now on the ground frequency. And we can continue going through the checklists. That's the before start procedure. So we've got everything set up, we've got clearance, and I'm basically now preparing for the startup. Okay, flight deck door is locked, CDU display, thrust reference checked, that's up here. IAS bugs, yep, let's check this again. So if we go to the where is it? Init, yeah. So 134 is on the IAS, yeah, check. Mach select the bugs also, it has automatically set the bugs for us. Mach selector check. Initial heading is a 08, oops. 081, I think. Initial altitude 5000. Now it's closing all the doors. So we should be fine. You can see that it has gone through the whole checklist apart from the trim. So we need to check the trim, which is supposed to be 3.7. And in order to do that, we need to go down here. I'm going to quickly check and bring it roughly to 3.7. It's in the green band, which is okay. Check. Next. Secondary engine start. So now let's go to operations ground and let's call start pushback.
Bitte zeigen Sie mir zuerst, wo Sie hinwollen.
Jo, I think we can leave this as an option because that is looking fine. Enter.
Bodenanbrücke. Der Schlepper bringt sich in Position.
And I'm going to request push and start.
Quality 9er ready for pushback and engine start. Quality 9er pushback and engine start approved. Pushback and engine start approved. Quality 9er.
Okie dokie. Somehow I don't hear any of the ITC chatter that we should hear. Not sure why that is.
Bodenanbrücke. Alle Türen und Luken sind verschlossen. Wir sind bereit, den Schlepper zu verbinden.
Then please do so. So, lifts up the wheel.
Schlepper ist verbunden, der Bypass-Pin ist gesetzt. Bitte lösen Sie die Parkbremse.
I'm using my key for that. Parking
Wir
brakes
beginnen mit dem
released.
Pushback. Die
So,
Triebwerke sind
secondary
freigerufen
engine
lassen.
conditions are checked. Left engine start, select the ground. I think I did this a little bit premature. But we already we apparently are already starting the engine. Yeah, the left one. So this is the automatic. If you want to do it yourself, you can do it. And you can see how it automatically also turns on the fuel. So we don't need to do anything in this option. And it's actually starting up now, the engine. Which is the left engine, it's turning, you can see that. Fuel control switch run. And we're waiting now for the idle. Okay, and now we can start the right engine. It's doing this automatically for you. It waits for N2 to increase. When it's past 18%, it will turn on the fuel. You could normally do this manually. Fuel control switch is run, and now we're waiting for the engine to come up. Now we're waiting for the idle. Almost there. When this reaches about 21 something, it should... Yeah, it has verified that the engine is on the idle. Okay. Now we can do the before start items. Packs are on again, isolation switches off, APU selector is off, status display. Checking the status display. Yeah. The flap lever. Now we set flaps 5. Then the flight controls, we can quickly check. Well, maybe not during... We shouldn't check, especially the rudder, probably while we are still being pushed.
Der Push-Vorgang ist abgeschlossen. Bitte setzen Sie die Parkbremse.
Parking brake is set. Okay,
Schlepper wird getrennt.
check this.
Einen kleinen
Looks good
Moment
as well.
bitte.
And the flap lever is checked. Flight controls is checked. So the transponder, we've got the right value, but we're not turning it on yet because we're in Germany. Around return of lights, switches on, logo lights set. That's the before taxi procedure. So now we need to wait that these guys wave bye-bye to us. And the other thing I'm going to do is now I'm going to turn on the off the dome light.
Der Schlepper wurde entfernt, der Bypasspin ist gezogen, Freizeichen gibt's von der linken Seite. Einen angenehmen Flug. Tschüss.
Jo, tschüss. Flight director is on, auto throttle is armed. There's everything set. Whoops, yeah, this is nice option with the size, but you need to watch out. Next would be before takeoff, which we have already completely. Somehow. Okay, now the position is not the best. So let's see how can I move this a bit out of the way. Let's do it like that. And that's a bit less obstruction. Alright, so this, by the way, the extraction displays. helps me a little bit, but they're getting covered up by the pilot to ATC, so that's why I'm moving them a little bit so that I can see them. Right. So we're done. Next is the taxi.
Quality 9er ready to taxi. Quality 9er taxi to runway 08 left via taxiways Charlie 3, Oscar 1, Charlie 1, November 1, Alpha 4, Mike, Alpha 2, hold short runway 08 left.
Yeah, forget about that Charlie whatever, because that would be meaning we need to go a merry-go-round here. We're going straight and we end up on the runway. I'm not going to follow these fancy instructions that they give us. Alright, now. So, parking brake off. Oh, and taxi lights, nose lights on. Ah, I can hear ATC chatter. Alright. Yeah. We're on the orange line here. And I think I need to do something. Yeah, there's a problem with my axis again. So let's go here. Yeah, the nose wheel tiller, I need to take it away from there. I need to put it here. Nose wheel tiller, and I need to add a response curve, because you can see my joystick is quite not so good. So I am adding another point. Okay, and roughly so that it covers the kind of null area. Did I say linear? That's stupid. I wanted cubic. So, and then we something like that. Apply, done. Oh, and it's raining. See? Now that's quite good, and it keeps it actually straight, because the jitter and the misplaced the potentiometers, or I'm not sure what you call them in English, they're defect. They're basically old and kaput. So I need to use the response curve, which is a great addition in X-Plane, to get them right. So that's the other view. Let's do this a little bit differently. That's looking good. That's the nose view. Roughly where the wiper starts. Okay, good to know. So I'm going to go around here now, and then, because we would have come from here, you know, we would have traveled all the way along the terminal and come back here again. That's yeah, that's not that's unnecessary. And as usual, we have a little problem again in Munich with the mesh. So that's a very unfortunate thing. One of the, probably the only flaw I have found so far with the Munich from short final design. They've created a mesh that just bites itself with my ortho stuff, and no matter what I've tried, patches and all kinds of things, if I don't have the mesh of Munich on top, but then I lose all the other stuff around it, because it excludes everything in the wide area. Yeah, I can either have Munich and have default scenery around it, or I can have something else, and then Munich doesn't properly work. so far it seems it's small things like the bridge, and I can ignore that. But at least I would have the surroundings. But it's yeah, it's not very practical. I tried to read and find, and I couldn't find so far a solution to that. Well, it's not bad, but it's I would prefer if it would be different. Obviously, so they want us to go to A2. A2 is I think is, and that's, by the way, that's something with ultra weather. Okay, these switchings between slightly brighter then suddenly dark again. Yeah, that's something that ultra weather XP brings in the 2.5. I think we partially had that in 2.4 as well. I personally think it got more in the new version, but I may be imagining this. So I'm going to very quickly vamp up the sound so that you hear a bit more, and then I'm going to show you what the realistic option actually means. So let me first bring up the sound a bit. I'm giving a bit of power now. So here you can hear the engines, right? And now I'm going to go to the options, and I'm trying to remember where that was. Sim settings, effects. Nope. Nope. Is it in general? Where was that? Shake, metric, throttles, block, realistic. Then you would think in advanced sound, right? Passenger volume. But there was an option somewhere in the cockpit, the sound in the cockpit. Where was that? Am I stupid? I thought I remember talking about this before. Ah, realistic sound, there it is. Yeah, that's what I thought. It doesn't really sound that much different. So I'm not sure what realistic means, what the difference is. But yeah, let's move back a bit on the sound again. All right, let's go. Nice rain effects. Actually, we could turn on the wipers, which are, where are they actually? Here. But yeah, I'm not sure where they're actually wiping things. Let's see. Does that make any difference? Yeah, I think it.
Niner contact tower on 118.7. Have a good flight. Tower on 118.7. Quality Niner.
Oh, okay. So we are ready for departure. So
Tower quality Niner ready for departure. Runway 08 left.
Quality 909 wind car light and variable cleared for takeoff. Runway 08 left.
okie dokie. Let's go to the checklist. As also before takeoff, there's only the climb. So we should be set. Let's turn on the lights. Oh, they were already on. Okay, yeah, because we pressed the before takeoff thing. Okay, so let's turn that one off. APU is still set here, so we'll turn this off. And we should actually put them onto automatic. Just realized that looked a bit odd. And so red collision light, white collision light, that's the strobes, so everything is on. Alright, that's the glare shield, and we need to now get that floodlight turned off. No, so where is that floodlight? There it is, because that was a bit bright. Alright, let's enter the runway. Ah yeah, you can see a little bit of the effect here. Okay, it doesn't work with my view, but you can see how the wiper is moving away the drops.
Approaching 08 left.
Alright, so the auto throttle is set. I'm going to activate LNAV VNAV to have some initial modes. It's very slow, you need to give a bit of power. I mean, otherwise it won't really roll very quickly. But you can taxi it pretty well. Yeah, so nice, yeah. Alright. Okie dokie. So, I think we are ready. And now I think it's the screw, like in the PMDG on the other simulator, that will turn on the auto throttle takeoff mode. So I'm pushing forward the throttles, then I press this button and it goes into takeoff mode. Takeoff power set. Throttle hold 100. V1 rotate. I'm not sure if there should be any announcements.
Light slow. Light slow.
Yeah, oh no, yeah, okay, not that kind of announcement.
Light
Gear up.
slow. Light slow.
Now following the flight director, and I'm using trim. Yeah, it's a little bit light on the controls. The VNAV has gone out. Why? I don't know. Flaps 1. Hopla. I've not been following now the flight director. I'm a little bit confused now because it changed the mode. And the aileron is slightly it's a bit touchy, yeah, so I need to check that maybe. So now we are on the flight director. I'm going to activate Command A and I bring up the flaps completely. And you can see now that it has automatically set this to off. And what I can do now is interactive checklist, climb and cruise. We're on climb, weather radar as required. Yeah, I should actually turn the weather radar on. What was that? think it's this one here. Yeah. So now it's on. Wind landing lights off at 10,000. We're not there yet. No smoking in seat belts. Let's quickly move this out, and we need to actually respond.
Flight level 100, radar director on 118.82, quality 9er.
So, and now we are with departure.
Quality 9er climbing to flight level 100.
No, we're not.
Niner, good evening. Radar contact.
When did it tell us to go to 100? Should I actually? I thought we should be on fire.
Niner climb and maintain flight level 100.
Ah. Climb and maintain flight level 100.
Climb and maintain flight level 100, quality 9er.
Yeah, performance, by the way, I am fixing it to 40 frames, but we are on 30, which means there is actually, this aircraft in bad weather and so on will reduce your frames, definitely. Ooh, we got the warp effect. Warp 9, make it so. So, we're out of the clouds, it seems, very suddenly.
Quality 9er climb and maintain flight level 160.
Climb and maintain flight level 160.
Quality 9er contact unit center on 120.65. Enjoy your evening.
Center on 120.65, take care, quality 9er. Quality 9er climbing to flight level 160.
So, let's take this out.
Quality 9er, good evening. Radar contact.
So, radar contact. You can probably not hear that much of the ATC. So we are approaching, we have anchor behind us, we're approaching Akini. And we can see some rain on the radar, but we don't seem to have clouds here. So I think we also can turn off the wipers. So let's reduce a little bit the glare shield. No. That's okay. And also maybe the panel light. Not that. No. Yeah, we can turn that off. Yeah. So there's a bit of light coming from that end. Yeah, that's a floodlight on the left side and on the right side. Okay. So the auto brake has been set back to RTO, and we have an FMC message. What would that be? Unable cruise altitude. Don't worry about it.
Maintain flight level 200.
Climb and maintain flight level 200.
200 quality 9er.
So we're approaching Bamta soon. We're quite fast actually. I'm now going to use a speed intervention and reduce the speed to 250. Which means that it will be climbing, and that's not very good actually. It will be climbing very, oh yeah, quite a lot. In order to bring the speed down. Now the climb rate will reduce again. Probably not the most comfortable option for the passengers we've just had. Ah well. So far everything is fine. It's really working well. We have reached flight level 200. It's reducing now. I fixed it on 250 knots. And apparently we have clouds again. And there you can see some reflections. Let's see if they don't go away. Okay. They stay.
Quality 99, expect the band 3 Alpha arrival with the band to transition for the
So-
ILS approach to runway 08 left with the MIQ transition at Munich after OST's cleared direct banter.
So it now tells us that we go Bamta.
Expect the BAMT 3 Alpha arrival.
Bamta 3 Alpha arrival. ILS 08 left.
Runway 08 left.
MIQ transition after OST's cleared direct Bamta.
Quality 9er.
So clear direct Bamta, yeah, we would be going there anyway.
Quality 99, descent to cross banter at flight level 170, then descend via the band 3 Alpha arrival with the banter transition to flight level 050 QNH is 1011 at Munich.
So it wants us to descend to 150.
Will cross Bamta at flight level 170, then descend via the BAMT 3 Alpha arrival.
So now let's see what it does with this corner.
050 QNH is 1011 quality 9er.
Unable cruise altitude. Forget that. The route is too short, so it will not calculate it properly.
Quality 99, you are off course. Turn right heading 182 to return to course.
So 182 to return to course. So ATC is now telling us to fly a vector because it realized that we have somehow we're not on the correct route, which is no surprise because for ATC, yeah, this kind of corner wouldn't work out. So I'm now using heading select.
Quality 99 resume navigation.
Resume navigation quality 9er.
Okay, so it wants us to resume on navigation. I'm going to try go LNAV again. See what happens. In the meantime, it has actually found a rose up. Yeah, we know that. Flight level 150 or below. Need to check it. I think it told me 170 to flight level 050. No, I'm wrong actually. I need to go to 150. We're now turning towards Rosap. And I'm now going to try and see what happens if I give it bingo direct. Execute. Yeah, that worked. See how it flies it. So we are running in thrust mode, flight level change instead of VNAV, and I have a speed intervention which is 250 instead of what the FMC says. Heading is always synchronized, and the altitude, that's what ATC has requested us to fly. So it's now going to try and intercept the course line. I've given it bingo because Rosap is too close. It would now probably start circling, trying to hit Rosap, and I want to avoid that. I had this with other aircraft as well, so that's the reason why I directly gave it to bingo. This corner is too short. And the aircraft is too fast and big. They just cannot get the curve radius small enough to hit this properly. So I think we can now call up the checklist. And it's the climb and cruise. Yeah, we've done that. So that's the descent checklist. The landing altitude is set. We have done this already. ICAS message recall, arrival installed in FMS. Yes. The radios are tuned. Landing flaps select in FMS. Yeah, we need to do that. For that we need to go in it, and we are going to land flaps 30. That's the VREF. Why do we do select in FMS? Hang on. Flaps? Landing? Ah, yeah, that is basically, it says flaps landing 30 and the speed. Yeah, that's correct. We've done that. The VREF is entered. The DHREF is 200, and the auto brake is auto brake 1 because it's a very big runway. So we're back on course. As you can see, we're now flying towards Tustol. We are on flight level 150. We're very soon going to get the next instruction to probably descend to something like flight level 130 or lower, unless it tells us to fly the approach. Frames are 25, so it's heavy on the frames. If my machine cannot get more than 25 frames out of this box, it is heavy on the frames, I'm afraid. Maybe there are some settings and options you can use to increase that a little bit, but the flight factor will reduce your frames, yeah, especially in bad weather and rain like I have. That's one of the reasons why I do this. I mean, 26, 27, 25 is okay. It gives you a relatively smooth experience. It's okay. But I wonder what it will be like when you have a lower powered system. You will probably need to turn off a lot of the external factors. So I'm pretty high on the graphics settings. So I'm pretty sure with this aircraft you will need to lower things a little bit if you're challenged. So you can see we're approaching Landu now, then comes MIQ. MIQ we need to be above flight level 50, and when we turn towards Magat, then we're going to descend gradually to 5,000, because we need to be at 5,000 at Magat.
Quality 99 QNH is 1011 cleared for the ILS approach to runway 08 left with the MIQ transition at
1011.
approach on 128.02. Good evening.
Good, for the ILS approach to runway 08 left with MIQ transition approach on 128.0. 128.0, okay.
QNH is 1011 cleared for the ILS approach to runway 08 left with the MIQ transition approach on 128.02 quality 9er.
So
Quality 9er at 5,000 feet.
we're not at 5,000 feet, that's
Quality
rubbish.
9er, good evening. Radar contact.
So, I'm pretty sure that we are cleared to follow the arrival, so I'm definitely going to start a shallow descent. I'm going to use vertical speed mode to try it out. So, do we get any indication where we would end up with our descent? Doesn't look like it. Ah, there. Okay. Yeah, that's okay, because we don't want to be at 5,000 at MIQ. Let's see if I... Yeah, something like that. Because we want to be at 5,000 at Magat. So I think that should be fine. You can always correct it if we need it. Yeah, that should do. Because when we are at Mike, we need to go all this way, and that means that we will be at 5,000 somewhere around here, probably. That'll do. So we've set that. What checklist did we last have? That was the descent checklist. So the approach checklist, wind, landing lights, past 10,000 on. Did I turn them off? Probably not. Yeah, so they're on anyway. Altimeters 1011 they set. So for me not to forget, I'm already going to set it now. What was the QNH? Let me quickly check. QNH is 1011. 1011. Yeah, okay. Passed. It's okay. Why is this always disappearing? Okay, QNH set cross-check. Well, passing transition level. Forget that. Arrival and approach updated in FMC is as required. Yep. So currently we are at 30 because we are below the clouds. There don't seem to be that many clouds now and no rain, so frames have gone up a little bit. Thing is, when I look down, I get my 40s. When I look outside, it's down to 25. And that is not only because of the outside, it's also because of the inside. Okay, the aircraft does have an impact on frames. It is a complex one. It will take away resources. So we're turning now, we're at MIQ. We're at 10,000. All the lights are on. I think we should now turn off that floodlight again. There's still some light from somewhere. That's what it looks like. I just wonder where that comes from. That's the map light. Okay. It is a bit bright, yeah, but that's okay. As long as we have reasonable lighting here towards the front. Synchronize the heading. And we can see now that we're going to reach 5,000 probably somewhere shortly before Maggot. We're at 8,000. Now the rain has started again. Let's very quickly check that the ILS is still set. Yes, it is. 109.5, 080. So we're on the approach frequency. See some of the rain effects here. I'm going to turn left any moment. For the approach now. So when we look at the legs page, we're here now 240. I'm going to reactivate VNAV. So we reduce to 240. You can see the ILS actually, there's the glide slope, there's the localizer. I'm going to arm the approach mode, see what happens. It should not do anything yet. It should really wait that we're aligned with the airport. There's the airport. So next will be
Quality 9er QNH is 1011 at Munich Contact Tower on 118.7. Have a nice day.
118.7.
QNH is 1011 tower on 118.7 quality 9er. Quality 9er is over D136R at 5,400 feet at 0828 Zulu.
Okay, now we need to get slower. Flaps 1. Oh, I think we're a little bit fast for that, yeah, true. That was a little bit too fast. So what have we got now? We have an overspeed warning, yeah, okay. We're still on the overspeed. Should have reduced by now. Why are we not reducing? Now we are. So what was our reference speed? Let's see. 118. Okay. Do a little bit more than that. Flaps next stage. Do something like 128, giving it a bit more. Although we are very light, but yeah, with this weather. Alrighty. DME. There's no DME readout. Okay. Gear down. Then I arm the speed brake. Alright. And next stage of flap. Let's go to the checklist. That's the after landing checklist. Okay, forget that. Next flaps 25. And flaps 30. Uh-oh. Okay, there we go. Right, I don't think we can do auto land here, and that is, not sure why that is, but I don't care anyway. Let's
1,000.
Are we clear to land? Somehow ATC has become very quiet.
Quality 9er wind are light and variable clear to land runway 08 left.
Clear to land runway
Clear to land.
08 left
There we go.
quality 9er.
So I need to manually turn off the autopilot
500.
and the auto throttle. Okay, got it. It's now a little bit. I needed to find now the thrust, where the thrust levers have to go. I hope I got it right.
Minimums.
A little bit high. That'll go. That's going to be a high landing.
100.
Yeah. Okay, let's try and get this.
50.
Oops.
40.
Yeah, I know. I know. Oh. No, that was shit. And I don't know why we landed, because we didn't actually touch down. Yeah, it's okay. That was crap landing. What I had was the aileron was very sloppy. Probably we were a little bit too slow. That's what I think. Secondly, I had no indication where I should put my thrust levers, so we actually got too much thrust. And it was quite shortly before the runway, so and the third thing was that the elevator, I thought it was a bit touchy, but when I tried to now give elevator input, it didn't really do very much. So if it is wrong, then it's actually not sensitive enough, because I wasn't able to really push the aircraft down. I did quite a bit of input, and nothing happened somehow. So I need to train this. Yeah, that wasn't a nice landing. It was actually a crap landing this time. But that's Try and Fly. You see, it's the first time almost a year now that I haven't flown this 757. So that's what you get when you don't sit in an aircraft and stay proficient with it. You end up with landings like that. Yeah, we should have gone around normally, but this is a Try and Fly, and I don't want to bore you another 20 minutes now trying to get around. That's not the point of this video. If I would be in a stream now and we would do a normal flight with ATC or something, I would have not landed. I would have gone around. So obviously you wouldn't land under such conditions. That was not stable, as it says. Okay, I'm not going to bore you now with the taxi home, because there isn't really a lot of dramatic things. So what we're going to do is now I'm going to quickly use the checklist for the shutdown. So as first of all, see, after landing, we're going to turn on the APU, which is already on, interestingly. Okay, exterior lights we're going to turn off, because we do as if we are already parked. And then comes the shutdown. All right. Okay, yeah, it's very quiet, but I think it has done its job. So that's the shutdown. Be careful when you press this, obviously, because whoop. And now we are secure. So that's the checklists with the automatic mode. You don't need to do it in the auto perform, but if you do, sometimes you have to be a bit careful. As you can see, that was now very sudden. If you accidentally activate this checklist in this mode, you might actually end up with nothing somewhere on the taxiway. That's good to know. Right. So that's the FlightFactor 757. Now don't take my landing here as the fault of the aircraft. It wasn't. It was my own. Yeah, it was slightly misjudged everything at the end. It's difficult if you're not used to the aircraft. So you really need to train. That's you need to try and be proficient in an aircraft, and you're not when you just use it once every donkey's month. And that also shows you this aircraft is not like a standard X-plane. Probably in the Zibo or in some standard X-plane aircraft, that might have looked slightly different. I might have had less difficulties bringing it down. But this is a complex aircraft with realistic systems, and you can't just button it down on the runway. It doesn't work like that in the FlightFactor. So you need to be careful. You need to also be careful that you don't damage things, because if you do, and I almost accidentally did by being in the overspeed, I didn't read the speed correctly, so I got out the flaps a little bit too early. This could have resulted in a damage, okay, and that would have made life even worse. And look at that, we have already a damage. It's a ground power connector which is malfunctioning. So whatever I did, I actually broke the ground power connector. You can reset it, and that's probably why we didn't have ground power. Interesting. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, complex aircraft. All this automatic stuff, you may like it or not. You don't have to use it, right? I just wanted to show you this. It's when you're a beginner, it's very helpful, especially if you don't know all the procedures that you should have. But yeah, all in all, good looking. Performance, well, yeah, you need a decent system to run the FlightFactor and the outside with some reasonable resolution and some reasonable looks and all. That's just a fact. Yeah, it is a complex aircraft. It will use more frames than simple aircraft will do. But that's not the fault of the 757. This is just a reality. You know, if you want complex stuff, you need to invest in hardware to run complex stuff. That's just the way it is. Okay, I hope that was useful. Another complex one we've looked at. I'm definitely going to use it now more often. I'm going to start getting proficient again in it, and then hopefully we'll be seeing some flights very soon with the 757 version 2 from FlightFactor. Until next time.